Welcome to assessment 11.2. 11.2 asks you to respond to 3 different scenarios, and 2 of those are videos and 1 is a police report. So we're going to look at one of the videos firstly, and this is about a boarder that we're going to call Sammy.
Everyone on the team loves Dad. He's a good coach.
Absolutely, yes mate, well done. We'll see you on the weekend. Excellent work.
Dad and Mum both work. They don't usually finish at the same time, but some days they do. I like it when they do.
Profiles for us across the entire staff.
Is there money in the budget?
There is, but should we be spending it on this?
Well, sure, it creates consistency across the organisation, right?
Yeah, good point.
Oh, hi again. Hi, Sammy.
Hey, Bruce. Hi, Jimmy. I heard you had a good hit out there today.
Yeah, you had your eye in today, didn't you, Jimmy? Let's see if you can hit another 6 on Saturday, yeah?
That'd be great.
Have a good night, gents.
Yeah, you too.
Bye, Jimmy. When I grow up, I want to be like Dad.
Beautiful afternoon, wasn't it?
Sure was, mate.
Have a good one, Ray. Say hi to Jenny for me.
Something good's cooking in there.
My friends love my mum. She makes them triple cheese toasties and she set up a superhero party for my birthday. It was awesome.
You know you said we need some time away together.
Yeah.
How about Easter long weekend?
We're at Dad's for Easter.
Yeah, but for something different.
Ben, do your homework before you switch that on.
I was only a couple of minutes till dinner.
What did I say? Turn it off! I don't care whether it's 5 minutes or 50. No games until homework is done.
Okay, that's fine. Ben, put it away, we're eating soon.
What? Is this glass?
I broke a glass earlier before I left. I thought I cleaned it all up.
Cleaned it up. Are you stupid or something? Did a bloody good job of that, didn't you? What if I was barefoot? I would have sliced my foot right open.
I'm so sorry.
Well, you've got time for holidays, but no time to clean the bloody file!
Dad says boys don't cry.
What's happening, Paul?
Nothing.
Everything okay over there?
She left a piece of bloody glass on the floor. Lucky I had my shoes on. And Ben.
Mate, pull your head in.
Sammy is a Year 7 weekly boarder. Sammy goes home on Friday afternoons, comes back to boarding on Sunday evening. Last Sunday evening, you were on duty and you immediately notice that Sammy is upset and has been crying. He puts his things away and you ask him to come out in the courtyard and have a talk. He's initially reluctant, but eventually he comes out and immediately starts crying. He soon tells you that his parents have been fighting.
So the first part of this assessment asks you to work out 5 questions that you can ask Sam. So.
Yes, and it's always good to remember to use empathy first before you start asking questions. So I would be acknowledging to Sammy that he seems upset or it must have been very hard and you look worried. And then I might start by asking something like, what are you feeling or what have you been thinking about? And we've got to be careful not to use complex questions, so that might be one question. Another possibility is, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling safe and okay here?
You might also ask him, what specifically is he worried about? What's concerning him most?
And then you might think, well, let's ask, is this the first time it's happened? Or an alternative to that could be, has it happened before? How often?
We also need to try and work out, is he at risk? Is Sam at risk? So you might ask him if he has been hurt himself, or if his mother has actually been hurt. So you might ask questions like that to find out if he is at risk.
Then you might be thinking it might be good to find out if, has Mum got anyone else she can talk to, or does Sammy have somebody that he can confide in or go to for help?
Yes, and you might also ask, what would you like us to do? What can we best do to help you or support you? So that should give you some questions that you can ask. You need 5 questions that you can ask Sam. Now the next is about how you report and record this. And most organisations will have a student database system like Reach or Aura, and you would report something like this in Reach or Aura with an access level, which means that it can only be accessed probably by the head of boarding.
And then what would you document? It's important to put down the sequence of events or how you knew about it, and then what Sammy tells you in his exact words as well as you can get them down. So keep it accurate, factual and brief, and any observations about his feelings or his behaviour.
Yes, yeah. And if you didn't have a student reporting system like Reach or Aura, you could just use a incident reporting form, something like that.
And you might want to email it for the attention of the head of boarding.
So typically this would go to the head of boarding or to a senior boarding supervisor. It may also go to the school principal, although the head of boarding will hand that on to who he thinks should see it.
So that was question C actually. Who should you inform and how? You might also want to think with the head of boarding, have a conversation about how much you're going to tell the other staff, because we will need to inform them, won't we? So that they can also provide support to Sammy when you're not available.
Yes, so typically in these situations you would try to make sure that you don't breach confidentiality. So you could tell other staff that Sam is concerned about conflicts between his mother and father, but you wouldn't provide any detail. Then that means that you really haven't breached confidentiality with what Sam's told you.
Question D says, what support can you and other boarding supervisors provide? It's good to give him lots of empathy, be there when he needs to talk, offer to do anything if he wants to get in touch with Mum or something, and also let the other supervisors know so they can be around and be of support to him.
Yes, so there's lots you can do just to support him, to be available, to listen to him, and just help him during this difficult time.
So question E, what other supports are available in the boarding school or the boarding community or the school community? What would you think?
Well, typically this would involve your nurse, if you have a nurse on site. You might also have a counsellor or a psychologist or an educational psychologist on site. You might also have senior school staff.
Services.
Yeah, like school services that could assist in this situation.
Or even a chaplain. Depends, I would be saying to him, who would you like to talk to? Who would you like to have another chat about this with?
Yeah.
And then F is what referral options are available in your area. So you might think we've got the opportunity, we've got a connection with Headspace or Centre Care or CAMS, which is child and adolescent mental health support, or some other local agency you know of that your residence works with. So try and put down there what's available in your area.
Yes, and you'll probably remember from the notes and also from assessment 11.1 that getting referral permission in this situation is more difficult because if the father, in this example, is the person who's been doing the abusing, then they're probably not going to be happy for you to be referring this student onto a counsellor or a psychologist. So it's tricky, but in these sort of circumstances, you can refer students on, particularly with the head of boarding's permission and support.
If safety is more important than getting permission. But you may be able to talk to mother. I would be thinking what's going to happen in the coming weekend and somebody's got to come and pick him up. Perhaps you could use that as an opportunity to for somebody to talk to her and find out if that would be okay with her at least.
Okay, so let's have a look at the second video. The second video is about Toby. It's a little bit confronting, but if you can have a look at the video and then we'll tell you a little bit about Toby's situation.
Daddy!
Hey mate, how are ya? Good to see ya.
Hope you've been a good boy for Mummy.
Yes, Dad.
How was your Rotary Club meeting today?
Fine. It's cold. It's got no taste.
I would order to come over this! Oh, shut up! The dog eats better than this! The dog eats better than this! Get up! Get up! Get up! How many times have I told you to clean up this mess? You're useless! Stop, please!
Toby is a year 7 boarder. He comes back from the school holidays and you notice that he's quiet and withdrawn, which is unusual for Toby. He spends a lot of time in his room and he stops mixing with other students or being involved with the boarding program. You make a time for Toby to come to your office and you ask him some questions and he tells you that his father is often very angry and hurts his mother.
So you can see that this is an escalation because clearly the mother has been physically hurt in this video.
So thinking about the 5 questions, you can think back on the ones we thought of for Sammy. You might use some of them if you think they're appropriate, or you might want to give him empathy and then ask something straight away about his mum, like what actually happened to mum, or has she got any help? Some of those kind of questions.
Yes. So the questions will be very similar to the questions that you asked Sammy, and then looking at the help that you can provide as a boarding supervisor, that will also be very similar. You know, being around to listen to Toby, provide empathy, making sure that he's okay, checking in on him to make sure that he's okay.
And the documentation would be the same?
Documentation would be the same as well.
It might be a slightly more urgent level because there may be more risk, although this boy is not just a weekly boarder, so he doesn't go home every weekend, but towards the holidays there might be more risk for him.
And somebody will need to make a decision about mandatory reporting. Is this a situation for mandatory reporting? And that's probably going to be something the head of boarding will do.
Because in some states, having a child live in a domestic violence situation is actually recognised as child abuse. So we need to be aware of the law in your state. Final question, question G is different. How is the Toby situation different to the Sammy situation?
And you can probably see that it's different for two reasons. One is that this is an escalation, so not only is the abuser being verbally abusive, he's also being physically abusive. And you can also see that there is a flashback in here to the father's own childhood. And you can see that this is a transgenerational type issue, that he experienced this in his own childhood, and therefore he is affected by that, and this is probably causing him to act like this in his own relationships.
Yeah.
So this is quite different. It's definitely an escalation.
Toby might need more assistance.
Yeah.
And I suppose, I don't know how far boarding can go, but Mum might even need assistance. If Toby says they're really isolated and they don't have anybody else to talk with, it might be up to you in boarding to try and contact her and see how she's going.
So let's go on to the third scenario. This is a police report, and I'm going to read it to you. And the student is a student called Donna. So the police report says a 37-year-old woman has suffered serious injuries to the back and head following a domestic violence incident at a remote community in the Barkly region earlier today. Around 5:30am, police were called to the remote community of, and that's been redacted, in response to a woman presenting at a local clinic with serious injuries. Initial reports indicate a 39-year-old man who's known to the woman assaulted her to the back, shoulders and neck area with a metal pole. The man fled the scene but has since been located and arrested by the police and is expected to be charged with various offences relating to this assault later today. The woman has been medevaced to Alice Springs Hospital in a serious but stable condition.
With Donna, it says, you are advised by the head of boarding that Donna's mother has been assaulted by her partner and is in Alice Springs Hospital in a serious condition. This happened in the school holidays, and Donna flew with her mother to Alice Springs and has just returned to boarding. There is a restraining order on the partner, and he cannot approach Donna's mother or Donna or her siblings. The head of boarding asked you to check in with Donna and work out how she can be supported. It has clearly been a very difficult time for Donna, and she welcomes the opportunity to sit down with you and talk. So the first question, this 11.2 asks you for this scenario is list 5 questions that you can ask Donna. And I was just thinking that we've got to be a little bit careful when we talk to a young person who's just been through a trauma like this, don't we? That we don't get them to feel worse about it. So I might actually ask, the first question I might ask is, what happened? Would you like to tell me about it? So that we're not pressurising her to talk about it if she doesn't want to.
Yeah, so that she doesn't have to retell the story and be traumatised in that process.
Then if she's willing to talk, you might ask, how is Mum going now? Or where is she, or where are his siblings? Where are they now? And are you able to keep in touch with them? Might be a good question too. I could also ask, how are you feeling or coping being back at school? Because she's had to leave the siblings and the mum.
In Alice Springs. Yeah.
So how can we help with that? Are you feeling safe while you're here at boarding? We don't quite know whether the father might access the place where boarding is. The scenario doesn't tell us. The other thing that's quite different about this scenario is the publicity that's around it. So it's not quite as confidential and all sort of under the surface like in the other 2 scenarios. This has been made public because it's been out there in a police report in the media, hasn't it?
Yes. So everybody in the community would know about it. Her family and friends would know about it. and possibly
Boarders.
some boarders might
school
know about it as
students.
well, or some
Yeah.
school students might know about it as well, particularly if they come from the same area.
Yeah, so would you perhaps feel like you might ask her, how do you feel about other people knowing, or do you think other people know? Does it worry you? And then maybe even offer to, would you like to talk to somebody else? Would you like to talk to the counsellor or the chaplain or the school psych? Perhaps offer her that opportunity.
Yes, yep. Okay, so how can we support Donna? It's very much the same as the other students initially, but there might need to be some flexibility around the way you support Donna. She may need to go back to Alice Springs and visit her mother and be with the other siblings. So there's going to need to be that flexibility there.
And therefore, if she's moving around particularly, then you're going to really need a safety plan. So part B says, what plan can you put in place to keep Donna safe? What should be in the plan? I think a safety plan, when anybody's got a VRO out against them and the mother and the siblings, and she's not, the stepdad or the partner is not allowed access to them, then we need to have a safety plan in place. So I think a safety plan would need to involve some sort of description or photograph of the person, wouldn't it? So all staff know what he looks like. And then discuss with the mother or the girl what can they do. Is it likely that he might try and come to access her? And then make sure that other staff and the head of boarding and everybody is well aware that this VRO is in place and this girl can have no contact with this man.
Yes, yep.
What does she do in that situation? If he does, we probably also need to then check our lockdown practice. If the person tries to come and access her at the school and he's told no, would he get violent towards school members or towards her?
Yes. So that's how we can support. Other people in the school can, and the boarding community and the school community can support Donna in the same way that the other two students were supported.
Checking in regularly and keeping up to date. Then what other supports are available outside the community or in your area? These are probably going to be the same places again, aren't they? The same supports you've had for the other two students. And then documenting this. And where do you document? Could be the same places and the same style of documentation, but your level of risk or level of urgency might just be higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then how is this different? You know, how is this different to the other two scenarios? It's certainly more serious. You know, somebody has been quite seriously injured and is in hospital. So it's very serious.
Involving the police.
It involves the police. It involves other people. Other people know about it. So that's how this scenario is quite different to the other two scenarios.
And that violence restraining order brings in another level of vigilance for us, because boarding goes on through the weekend, through school, out of community sport events, coming and going to the school, to boarding. So we need to be very careful. The other thing I think that's really important for Donna is that her future is fairly uncertain, wouldn't it be? She may not know what's going to happen to Mum after she gets out of hospital. Where are they going to live in the future? Will they be safe in the future from this man? So there could be a whole level of uncertainty there that's going to be really tricky for her.
Okay, so that's the end of this assessment. 11.2, if you can complete this and get that back to us as soon as possible, that would be very good. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.